Our whole universe was in.
Hello, I'm Sheldon. From The Big Bang Theory, of course. Did you know that Mike's Daily Podcast is completely independently created and produced? Of course you didn't, because you're not as smart as I am, nor have you won as many Emmys. Did you know that just about every podcast you listen to is part of a huge network, corporation, or just simply lifted off of a radio station? What drollness that is. Did you know that big-name podcast players like iTunes and Stitcher show only podcasts that pay for advertising or have big names that have been on TV or film? I watch neither. Especially Doctor Who. I hate that show. Please do what you can to support independent podcasters like Mike. He seems like an alright guy, although he's not as smart as I am. No one is as smart as I am or as dumb as he. Now, Mike's Daily Podcast.
This show is clean, pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 815. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on Earth, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. Today, part 3 of my intern interview with the Seattle band LOWLANDS and Tom Roram. Plus, we hear from Shelley Shuhart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer. And when I die, I will live on Facebook, which is another way of saying I am going to hell. Mike's Daily Podcast. We find out more about that on this show today. There is so much to tell. Mike's Daily Podcast. Though I am bald now, I wish that when I was younger I had a high top fade. My hair was kind of curly. Hey, do you like my hot face that you see on Mike's Daily Podcast in the podcast pictures? Rude dog park people. They annoy me. But I love long, short beagles. They're really cool. And they've got such innocent faces. Mike's Daily Podcast. When they stare at you and go, where's my best friend Woodstock, that little bird? Mike's love Daily Charlie Brown Podcast. And then there was, on the last show, Madame Rutabaga tried to fix me up with Haley Atwell. Love her too. The lovely, who is Agent Carter. On the show, Agent Carter, look who just walked in. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Shelley Shuhart, Strap Supervisor. Oh my gosh, Charlie Brown was like such a great cartoon. It was, and you know, it pops up into our lives a couple times a year with the different holiday specials that they made. Charles Schulz lives on, and he's got like a bunch of statuettes of his characters up in Santa Rosa when you go up north past Marin County and all that. And it's cool. It's a little place in California. I know he had something to do with St. Paul, Minnesota as well. So he is involved somehow with a lot of cities that have saints in their names. Santa Rosa, St. Paul, that kind of thing. Shelley, wake up!
Oh my God, Mike Matthews, I'm so sorry, I fell asleep.
Look who else just walked in. Hello, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman!
And this is John Deere the Engineer. Mike, I don't think I can imagine you with a high top fade.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my hair was pretty curly, but the worst thing I ever did with my curly hair when I had hair was I had like a fro mullet, kind of like, what's his name? James Cameron? Chris Cameron, he's a big Jesus fan now. He does the Back to the Future, Left Behind. Yeah, that thing. He was, of course, on Growing Pains. Do you remember that? John Deere the Engineer?
Yes, Mike, I do.
Our voices sound very similar right now.
They do, Mike Matthews. The only difference is I sound more intelligent.
Yeah. Well, you know, a brick would sound more intelligent than me. Actually, bricks are pretty smart. They're heavy. Isn't that another way of saying you're smart? Heavy? Have I completely lost all of you?
Mike Matthews, what were you talking to me? I was sleeping.
Long, short beagles. I don't know. Do you have a beagle? Beagles are amazing. They're great hunting dogs. They're just funny to look at. I love them. I saw them all over yesterday at Point Isabel. which you can see a picture of at mikesdailypodcast.com. It's the podcast picture. And yeah, they just love to walk around, and my boxer dog Basil loves playing with them. It's just great. All these dogs walking around Point Isabel, they're completely free and loose and running around, and it's great, except for when your dog gets attacked by some strange husky mix. I mean, this dog couldn't have been a husky. The person that was with me said it was a husky, but it was much too big to be a husky. It was like Cujo size husky. And this dog showed its teeth at Basil and then started coming at Basil, and Basil like defended his ground, my boxer. And next thing I know, the two dogs are barking in each other's faces, and finally that dog went away. And I found out later that from a bunch of people at Point Isabel that this dog had been picking on other people's dogs. That's not right. The Point Isabel is a fantastic place with a great view of the Golden Gate Bridge, Mount Tamalpais, and am I saying that name wrong, Basil? I probably am. It's to be ruined by aggressive dogs like that, just annoying. But I guess it's part of life at a dog park. You know what? Part of life is death. And part of death now in today's world is that you leave behind a Facebook that goes on long after you're dead. And now Facebook is making it easier for you to plan your online afterlife. This according to the Associated Press. The world's biggest online social network said that today that it will now let users pick someone who can manage their account after they die. Previously, the accounts were memorialized after death or locked so that no one could log in. But Facebook says its users wanted more choice. Beginning in the US, Facebook users can now pick a legacy contact to post on their page after they die, respond to a new friend requests, and update their profile picture and cover photo. Users can also have their accounts deleted after their death, which was not possible before. If you want someone to manage your account after you die, you have to click on that upside down triangle on the right hand corner of your page and find security settings. And for us, there will be an option here in the US to edit your legacy contact, who must be a Facebook user. But you don't have to pick someone else to manage your account. You can also check a box to permanently delete your account when you die. However, the person you choose to manage your account won't be notified of your choice until your Facebook account is memorialized. But you can choose to send them a message right away. Accounts are memorialized at the request of loved ones who must provide proof of the person's death, such as an obituary. Facebook tries to ensure that the account of the dead user doesn't show up as a suggested friend or in other ways that could upset the person's loved ones. Facebook, which has nearly 1.4 billion users, won't say how many accounts are memorialized, though their product manager, Vanessa that's really her name. You have to pronounce it like that. Or it could be pronounced Callison Birch with a hyphen in between, said there have been hundreds of thousands of requests from loved ones to do so, to memorialize the account. And yeah, I don't know if you've known anyone that had their accounts memorialized who have passed away. People will post on that person's birthday. They'll post something on that page and talk about, you know, how much they miss them. And it's kind of nice because people will post stories, and other people can then, you know, talk to each other, converse with each other. Also is a way a lot of people use to put together an actual memorial, an actual get-together where they remember that person. What do you think about all that? Email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. What do you think about dog parks? What do you think about high top fades? What do you think about beagles? Email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email. Also, email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to sponsor the show, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. And go to the website, mikesdailypodcast.com, with links to where to listen to the show in iTunes. Comment on the show and rate the show. If you do that, more people find out about us. As you heard at the beginning of the show, Big Bang Theory guy was talking about how we just, as an independent podcast, we don't get any publicity. I don't put any money into advertising, and because of that, iTunes doesn't show me. Neither does Stitcher. So if you can, promote this show in whatever way you can. A great way to do that is on your Facebook page. Like my Facebook page, and when I post a new show, share it with your friends, and more people find out about us that way. And we're not memorialized yet, so it's good to promote us while we're still around. Also, we are on YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn. If you have the TuneIn app, you can find us on there. We are on Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker, and yes, Stitcher. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Yelp, Tumblr. All those links at mikesdailypodcast.com. And the Amazon link, if you buy anything through Amazon, go through that and buy something that helps support the show, and it doesn't change the way you shop. You can also find the blog, the Daily Podcast picture, and all my past interviews are at mikesdailypodcast.com. And speaking of interviews...
Into an interview.
Great.
We're speaking with Tom Roram of the band Lowlands from Seattle. Is that where the name came from? Or there like Lowlands in Seattle? I don't know.
There are lowlands in Seattle, but not necessarily, not really where the name came from. No.
No?
No.
What the name come from?
I don't know. That's just kind of a personal question.
Okay.
No,
I touched a nerve.
Like I said before, I started the band with a friend of mine from school. His name is Joel, and we, at the time when we were starting the band, we were trying to come up with a name, and we were really obsessed with this one song by, is it Gillian Welch or Jillian Welch? Gillian Welch.
I say Jillian, but you can say Gillian or tomato.
Because I've heard it both ways. Anyway, Jillian Welch.
Yeah.
And Dave Rollins, and it's called In the Lowlands, and we just loved it, and we covered it, and when we were trying to figure out a name, like, why don't we just call ourselves Lowlands? And we're like, great, let's do it. And that's kind of stuck from there.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah, she's an amazing artist, huh?
Yeah. Oh, man. She's the best.
And you really love music. I love your throwback album editions. Where did that get started? Yeah,
because I was trying to think of something that could be fun to do as a band, just to keep posting stuff to our website. And the Throwback Thursday thing, like on Facebook and on Twitter, I think is really fun. And you can see, people throw up pictures of themselves when they're kids. And I always thought it'd be interesting to, as musicians, to talk about music that you used to be into, or that were, was impactful in some way, or that you listened to as a kid, or, whatever reason. So that's kind of where it spawned. So I was like, I'm going to do this. I want to try and do it on a regular basis, and I'd love to have the band contribute, and everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. So it's been a lot of fun, and been a lot of fun to like look back at some of the music that we listened to. And I've got a few albums up my sleeve that I'm going to write about that are going to be probably a little out of left field, but I think it'll be good.
What was the latest one? Is like a Jackson Browne album.
Yeah, and that actually I asked one of the bands that we're playing with for our CD release, Nick Foster. I asked him to do it, so he did a guest post for us, which is fun. And so that's what I'm also going to try and do, is get friends of mine who are also musicians to talk about albums that they really like.
Oh, cool! And I saw the Dave Matthews Band album.
Yeah.
I forget the name of that one. What is that? I eat too much.
Yeah. It's called Crash, the album, and
okay.
Too Much is one of the songs. Yeah, I love that album when it came out.
Yeah, it definitely got played a lot in my car.
Yeah,
I was a Dave Matthews nerd. Well, we share the same last name, only he's way more talented. He's amazing. But you have this great song called Hands and Feet on the album The Whale, and I wanted to play it right now. And I love the shoo-la-las and the piano on this. Very cool. And how did this one come to be?
Yeah, I was talking to my wife one night about, because I was trying to write some more music, and I was saying, like, man, like, most of our songs are kind of depressing. Like, we've got a lot of depressing songs, and I was like, I feel like I just need to write a somewhat happy, upbeat song. And so I wrote this song, and it's totally different from most of the stuff that we play, but I feel like it still fits with our vibe. But I basically just was like, I want to write a really great rock and roll song. That's all I want to do.
Well, it works. It's a great song. Let's play it now. And it's on the album The Whale. And you can find out more about Lowlands at their website, wearelowlands.com. They're at lowlands.bandcamp.com. And on Facebook at Lowland Music. So, it's Tom Roram and Lowlands with Hands and Feet. I am in my announcer voice now. Wow. Because I'm playing a cool upbeat song on Mike's Daily Podcast. Hands and Feet, that is Lowlands, as we go outside of the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. Tomorrow, the finale of my Into an Interview with Tom Roram of Lowlands.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The picture is me there at Point Isabel. You can see kind of in the background, although it's really far away, San Francisco and the Golden Gate Bridge. And I am standing there, or sitting, squatting, actually, with the two dogs. I got Basil the boxer, and then another boxer that I found named Angie, that Kathy was walking. I was walking with Kathy, talking to her about what it's like to own a boxer and the fun and joy they can bring you. And I was actually walking with her when that husky came along and decided to be all machismo and annoying. But that picture there at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Mike Matthews, I really apologize for my narcolepsy on today's show. I just haven't been sleeping well lately.
Oh, okay. Is it? Why is that?
I've been watching, I guess John Mayer was hosting the Late Late Show for a while. And, like, I was watching that, and it was causing me not to sleep very well.
I thought you had a thing for John Mayer.
I know, like, I do, but, like, sometimes he, like, scares me.
Now, if you watch Big Bang Theory, do you have nightmares?
No, I have hot dreams with Sheldon.
Ah, and you know, he introed the show today.
He did? Oh my god, did I miss it?
You're probably sleeping.
Dang it. Dang my narcolepsy.
Yeah, Sheldon's cool. Next show, the finale of my interview with the band Lowlands. And then we will also hear from Benita, the disgruntled fiddle player, and the brewmaster.
Wait, Mike!
What is it, Floyd?
I didn't get to say anything on today's show. You had this whole script written for me to say something. I was going to say this.
All right, go ahead, Floyd.
Wow. Haley Atwell is sure hot. Mike, I think she'd be a perfect match for you. Because I'm Floyd the Floorman. Really, Mike? This is what you wrote for me?
Well, you know, it's worth a shot.
Mike, I'm afraid you have no shot at all with Haley Atwell.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!